Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome to my Tiny Talks podcast, the show where we'll dive into self-love, inner child healing, and discovering your soul's purpose. I look forward to chatting with you every single week and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's Tiny Talk. Hello, you guys, and welcome to my 7th episode of Tiny Talks. I was honestly not planning on jumping on and doing this podcast episode. However, whenever I feel things on my heart or I have realizations or just feel like someone could benefit potentially from what I'm going to share, I just can't hold back from doing so. And kind of just to dive in, what had been happening is I was on my Instagram feed kind of cleaning up some things that were on there and deciding the things that I wanted to remain on there, deleting some old posts, etc., etc. And as I was scrolling through old posts and pictures, but specifically through old reels, I started to see a bunch about my growth that I've been on over the last year, and I started to get very self-emotional in the fact that we often don't see our growth unless we consciously decide to pause and reflect back on it. And so what I mean by that is, as I was scrolling through these reels, I remember how I felt when making every single one of those videos. I remember trying to focus so hard on my healing and to get over the end of a relationship and what felt like the end of a chapter of my life. And I remember I was so scared for what was to come, and I just felt like everything that I had worked for was being worked away, and like, how could things get any better? And I just didn't really have a vision for myself. But in those videos, I just, again, remember that pain that I had. And now that I'm at a place in my life where I'm still on that journey, but I'm able to look back and just realize the lack of credit that I was giving myself then. And I just want to remind us all that it's okay to pause and to thank yourself for how far you've come. So to give a little backstory, this last year has been extremely, extremely hard on all of us. And it was honestly such a year of growth for me, and a year where I truly feel like I finally stepped into true self-love for myself for the first time in a very long time, or maybe even ever. And it's a scary journey, and it's a scary process. And honestly, each day feels like it gets harder and more confusing. And some days it feels like I'm taking 10 steps backwards, and other days it feels like I'm moving forward. And that is just the process of pushing through your traumas and pushing through life experiences and growing and evolving. And I am definitely guilty, and I think a lot of us are guilty of forgetting all the hard work it takes to even recognize that we're doing that. Validating for ourselves that it's not easy to put past experiences and triggers and people behind us. It's not easy to have realizations of things that people have done to you, to remember the things that you've done to yourself. It's hard work. And so as I was sitting there and watching these reels, I realized that what I was putting on, as far as what you could see on the internet, was so not what I was feeling. It wasn't a way. But now that I look back, all I see is the hurt that I was experiencing and trying to cover it up with a smile. And I wish that I could tell myself, even just a year ago, that you don't have to be okay all the time. You don't have to have it figured out all the time. Life throws us curveballs. Life throws us challenges. But you see, the thing is, you guys, is the universe, or whoever your higher up is, or whatever you choose to follow, we all have a plan. We all have a destiny. We are all here for a purpose. And I know that sometimes things can happen and they seem unfair, and it's hard. However, oftentimes it's the hardest things that we go through, the hardest lessons, the hardest breakups, the hardest moves, the hardest losses, right? And in those moments, it seems like it's the end of the world and we're never going to make it through. However, it's often those experiences that make us grow and step closer to our truest and higher self. And I'm going to be referencing higher self a lot, and basically what I mean by that is your true self. We're brought into this world as such innocent little babies. And even as children, we don't care what shoes we're wearing. We don't care what people think about us on social media. We don't care what the person at the grocery store is thinking about us. Right? As we grow up, our ego starts to develop. And society, and again, social media, and we start to put these labels on ourselves. We start to get really hard on ourselves. And so we step away from true self-love and our true highest self. And that could be potentially our family that's geared us in a direction. And sometimes we follow that and we do find happiness. However, sometimes it takes a lot of self-discovery and work and stepping away from our everyday patterns to find our highest self and the true things that bring us joy. And not the things that bring us joy because we feel like mainstream society or going with the status quo is what we're supposed to do. But doing the things that actually bring you ultimate joy. And you'll know what that feels like because you'll know it in your heart. And so the reason that I share all this is because, again, looking back, if I could just give myself that permission that it's okay to be in pain. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have hard days. Right? However, it's not okay to stay in that space. And it can take time. But you have to bring awareness to how long you're staying in that zone. We have to dig ourselves out of that hole. We have to find those things that bring us joy and make sure we do them every single day. The more that we can connect to the things that make us happy and bring us joy and make that a regular thing, that's actually looking after ourselves. And self-care is this weird thing where we often think it's just taking a bath or watching a show with a glass of wine. And yes, sure, absolutely, those things are wonderful. But do they make you as a unique individual happy, and do those things fill your cup? One exercise that I find extremely helpful, and it's so simple, is I want you to sit down with just you and a pen and paper. No distractions. And I want you to honestly sit there and ask yourself the things that make you happy. And I want you to be mindful of if you're instantly thinking of things, or if it's taking you a little bit longer. And again, there's no judgment. This is all out of curiosity of where you're at. Maybe you haven't found those things that bring you joy, or maybe the things that you thought brought you joy haven't in a while. But I'm here to tell you that even though sometimes it seems like we can't put anything on that piece of paper, they're there. Sometimes it's our hurt that covers that up, and it's okay to do the work and to take some time to find those things. But it's so important that we're always actively trying to find them, to listen to our body in every single moment of how it's feeling and reacting, because our heart and our instinct and our gut will tell us and show us and communicate with us when something feels right and when something feels good. And I'm learning this slowly over time, because I used to think that I had to act like I had it all together because that was the only way to fit in or to be taken seriously. However, growth lies in vulnerability. That is where we are able to find ourselves. And I know this is so basic to say, but it's so true. And it's that we have one shot on this planet. We have one shot at this. Why waste our one shot worrying about things that do not matter? Choose delicately, my friends, where you put your energy, who you invest in, who you allow to control how you are feeling. Right? Oftentimes, a lot of us have those one or two people that we know make us feel like crap. But for some reason, we keep them around. Why is that? Why do we try to please everybody around us and make ourselves feel less than? And I'm equally as guilty of this. However, the more that we do that, the more that we're actually stepping away from our higher self. The more time that we spend reminiscing on negativity and our mind being full of negativity, we are stepping away from our highest self and our highest potential. We need to learn to raise our vibration, to do things that again make you as a unique individual happy, things that fill your cup, things that make you feel love and joy and fulfilled. Right? We spend so much time in this toxic headspace and we get stuck there. And again, I'm not saying that it's not okay to be sad sometimes or down sometimes, because it is normal and it is okay to feel that way. But again, it's not normal to be stuck there and to stay there and to reminisce there. And I know that that can be hard to come out of, especially if you've been in a slump for a while. But I'm telling you with every ounce of me that if I can get here from the dark, dark, dark places that I have been in my mind and in my body over the last 4 years, I guarantee you that you can as well. And that has looked like getting much support, going to therapy, seeing my doctor, talking to friends, doing a lot of journaling and self-reflection, moving my body, loving myself, right? Crying, releasing, noticing, bringing awareness to, being curious about. But if we just put our walls up and our shame comes up and we suppress and we suppress and we suppress, those feelings are only going to get more intense, and they're going to come out as anger and frustration and the feeling of wanting to give up. So I encourage you to write that list and just notice if anything comes up for you. And maybe it's just 1 or 2 things. That's amazing. Focus on those 1 or 2 things that bring you joy and happiness. Maybe eventually you'll have a huge list and you just look at it and go, holy smokes, look at all the blessings in my life. And maybe you have nothing on that piece of paper. And again, that's okay. The fact that you even tried to do the exercise just shows that you're willing to put in some work. So give yourself credit for that. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a hug. Right? Trying is everything. I see you. I know it's hard work. Trust me. Trust me. I know it's hard work. However, I also know that I tried to suppress my emotions and my feelings for a very long time, and it doesn't get you anywhere. You're not cooler by feeling like you're superior to your emotions. You're not cooler by suppressing your traumas and pretending like they didn't happen. The reality is any horrific thing that you have been through, no matter how small or how big, they will always be a part of you. They will always live inside of you. However, they can start to feel less painful and less heavy over time. But if we suppress them, they oftentimes come up when we least expect it. And it feels like a tidal wave of emotions. And we often start to ask ourselves, what is wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? When in reality, my friend, there's nothing wrong with you. Your body is reacting exactly how it should be, given what it has in that moment. So the more that we can pour into ourselves each and every day, the more that our body has that homeostasis and grounded sensation, even for just a moment, to come back to your body, to feel loved, to feel worthy. And I know that this is a little bit of a deeper episode, but I really just wanted to share what was on my heart, because I just want to give that permission that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to cry. But it's also okay to dance and to laugh and to smile and dance at the things that have brought you pain. Release it. Celebrate the fact that you are still here in this moment. If you are listening to my voice, you are here. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are filling with oxygen. Your blood is pumping. Your brain is working. You are here, my friend. You are worthy to heal and to feel good. And if no one has told you, I am so sorry for anything you may have potentially gone through, or someone has done something to you, or an experience you have had that has maybe reshaped your view of the world. I am so sorry if you've ever had to feel less than or unvalidated. However, again, you're here. And think of all the amazing things you have left to do on this planet. There is only one you. They are shining in there. So let's work towards a little bit more self-love, a little more self-compassion, a little more on finding those small things in the midst of a day that make us happy and bring us joy. I know it can be hard and sometimes we have to dig a little deeper, but I'm telling you that they're there. I once thought that I had no purpose and I was at my end. And I'm so thankful that I decided to keep going. Because each day that passes, I'm finding more and more things to be grateful for. And that's the thing, you guys, that's how our mind works. When we start to look for the good and welcome the good, we're more susceptible to see it. However, if we have our walls up and we're constantly just looking for negativity and expecting negativity and bad things to happen to us, we're often only going to see those bad things that are happening. You are so worthy. You are amazing. I am so glad to have you here. If any of you ever need to chat, know that you can always contact me. If you are in a low place, know that you are worthy of getting help. I have been there. I know what it feels like. Your pain and your hurt is real. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope that you can give yourself a little extra hug tonight. Tell yourself something nice in the mirror tonight. Maybe make your favorite meal or go for a nice walk. Or simply just sit there and listen to your favorite song and think of a good memory. There's no act of self-kindness that is too small or too big. I hope you have the most amazing day. And I truly do hope that you're able to take even just 5 minutes for yourself today to pour into you, because you are so worthy of it. Until next time.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this week's episode of Tiny Talks. If you're looking to connect, you can find me on Instagram at JessieBrown13. I look forward to chatting with you all next week.